More now on the big, beautiful bill we were just talking about, and as it heads to the Senate, with that Elon Musk post getting a lot of attention, called it a disgusting abomination, criticized the lawmakers voting for it, and saying, you know you did wrong, you know it. Let's see what the panel thinks of it. Navin Nayak joins us, president of the Center for American Progress Action Fund, and so does Lauren Wright, NewsNation political contributor, scholar, and lecturer at Princeton University. You want to pick up on this first, Lauren? Elon, they were asked about it at the briefing, or the press secretary was today. Not their favorite question, I'm sure. But Elon heads out of Washington, and he's swinging, especially about this big, beautiful bill. What would you say about where we're going from here in the Senate?
Well, it's obviously annoying to him. He became even more famous and well-known than he already was for trying to slash government spending. And the hardest message here to sell for Republicans, and we saw Rand Paul's comments earlier that were very similar to Musk's, is the spending aspect. The spending cuts that are supposed to offset the spending are a little bit easier to defend, but as long as there's new programs being added, more benefits being added, it is a tough message to send. And I wasn't surprised to see that criticism.
Yeah, to your point, Lauren, I think it's interesting, Navin, Musk aside, because he's obviously not a member of the United States Senate, that some Republican members in the Senate.
Anyway.
Right,
Yeah.
well, right. Yeah, play this tape back. Some Republican members of the Senate are not going along here. You mentioned Rand Paul. President's not happy with Rand Paul. So here's President Trump's post about Rand Paul. He says, Rand Paul votes no on everything, but never has any practical or constructive ideas. Okay. His ideas are actually crazy. Then parentheses, meaning that they are losers. The ideas are losers, exclamation point. And the people of Kentucky can't stand him. This is a big growth bill. So, yeah, not thrilled with Rand Paul, but it's not just him. Remember at the beginning, Navin, to be fair, a lot of people said, "Well, this Congress is going to roll over for the president," but maybe not all the Republicans. What do you think?
I don't know. We heard that in the House too, where the Freedom Caucus was going to stand still, and the Freedom Caucus voted for a bill that independent experts say is going to increase the debt by $3 trillion. And that, has really shaken markets. It's going to increase the deficit, increase the cost of government. So they all did roll over, and we'll see. Ron Johnson, Rand Paul, obviously there's no way to defend this bill from an economic perspective. And the question is, does that matter anymore in this Republican Party? In the House, it didn't. And, I have my doubts. I'm glad they're at least being honest. I think the one thing I'll say about Musk's tweet is it's honest. There's no way to pretend that this bill is anything other than an abomination. And Musk doesn't even get into the cuts to health care, which is what most Americans, I think, are really going to feel. And you can see Trump in the White House trying to pretend like that isn't in there because it's going to be so devastating when voters hear about this.
Yeah, because his point is that they're not cutting enough in other areas. That's what Musk's point is. And some of these other senators, that's their point as well. To the point that you're making here about there's no way to defend it, well, let's do one more thing on this, then we'll move to another subject. Caroline Leavitt did try to defend it and, talk about these Republican senators that are coming out against it at the briefing earlier saying this. Listen.
So those senators, it's not news that they disagree with this president on policy, and the president has vocally called them out for it and for their not having their facts together. I would add the Congressional Budget Office has been historically wrong. In fact, they predicted the Trump tax cuts from the president's first term in 2017. Their prediction was wrong by $500 billion.
Lauren, what would you say about that that part of it, the last part, in terms of the economics, what it's going to do for debt and deficits?
Yeah, I disagree with Naveed a little bit here. And I think Republicans could do a much better job defending the Medicaid cuts, for instance. A lot of these cuts in the form of improper payments, which are 5 to 15% of Medicaid expenditures. That's a lot when you're talking about a program that serves 80 million people. Those are cuts that Democrats applauded President Obama for. He negotiated many of the same things with John Boehner in 2011. He said he was going to slash government spending, and he did. And in every single one of his second-term budgets, he had Medicare and Medicaid cuts. Republicans should say that. They're doing a better job defending the tax cuts because those are popular among the American public. But of course, Americans, when they hear cuts to Medicaid, they're going to be really upset. You need to explain that every serious policymaker, including Democrats who looks at the budget, has eventually proposed cuts to these programs, whether they pass or not.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.